Welcome back folks, my name is Last No Meal and today we're going to talk about nomads and why they are one of the most important pillars of the cyberpunk universe, so let's get into it. So in the previous two Night City wires we had a chance to see a bit more of the Badlands and about nomads. Especially in the gang's trailer they mention Aldecaldos and Wraiths. Even though both are nomad families, one is more classified as a gang, and those are the Wraiths, while Aldecaldos are much more peaceful and normal in a sense, so why is that? Well, first off, we have to go back to the collapse, which decimated the United States. Basically, stock market crashed, overall economy of the entire country was shaken to its core, and because most lands then were ravaged by the climate change and human negligence, food became more scarce and millions of people lost their jobs and became homeless. So what do you do then? Do you stay in the city where there is basically nothing, plus you have gangs, corporations and various other interest groups going off on each other? So you travel, you move to a different place so you can survive, and since traveling alone can be a problem, well, you can be attacked, nomads slowly started working together, because at first you had some people which traveled alone, and then on the other you had families, just a family of 4 which is looking for a better tomorrow. And because the roads are dangerous, their overall size increased, a lot more and more people followed a certain caravan, and of course since that is like an organism, everyone has a job to do to maintain that caravan so it reaches the objective, or well, their home. And those families from 10 to 100 people turned into a clan, going from 300 to 1200 people. After that, obviously more and more people saw that being a nomad is not that bad, so clans became tribes that range from 10,000 to 30,000 people, and ultimately you have nations that go from 100,000 to 1,000,000 people, so generally the nomads are huge. Of course, for the city people, nomads were always portrayed as savages, killers, as someone you need to avoid at any cost. So don't be surprised if the media in the game has a lot of things to say against them. Probably less in 2077 than in 2020, but people don't understand why they do it, so they are afraid. As it actually was said in the source book, nomads are not merely an adjunct to the American society. They are a complete society existing in symbiosis with static culture being the cities. Because in an age when most Americans huddle in the fortified wreckage of their cities, it is this mobility that makes nomads suspect in the eyes of the common man, and feared by the repressive government that still holds tenaciously to power. A culture on the move is a new thing, and in 2020, the new is often dangerous. And all of this is true. Imagine if now in your country you have people like this. They live outside, as you drive you can see their camp. How would you feel? And being in the cities can be stressful, fast, dangerous, while living out in the Badlands is more chill experience and liberating in a sense. That's why in those trailers, nomad music is often more calm. There is this sense of community and fellowship, which is very rare to find in the modern day. Because take a look at Night City. Everyone there wants to stab you, rules are generally blurred. Meanwhile, for the nomads, it's much more organized in that society sense. They have certain rules they follow. If you don't, well, you are out of the family. So in the universe you have what's called the 7 nations, being the 7 biggest groups in the entire states. So you won't find all of them in Night City, for example. Some are, for example, on the East Coast or Midwest or just some other place. So the 7 nations are Snake Nation, the Jodes, the Blood Nation, the Meta, the Aldecaldos, Thales Nation, Folk Nation, and there is of course one more called the Raphanshiv, but those guys, oof, they are bandits, savages, and generally everything bad media talks about when they talk about the nomads. I will be going further into detail regarding those nations in another video because it's huge, but all of them are different but still share some of that dignity in a sense. For example, let's take a look at the Jodes. Their leader, Malachi Jode, was considered to be the first nomad. Under his vision, he united people into his nation. They are generally nice, but for example, there's someone who really don't like the statics. Statics are actually people living in one place, like Night City, so their camps cannot be found close to one. Like for example, you can find Aldecaldos having their encampments on the borders of the city, since they work together with the people in the city. Meanwhile, the Jodes, not really. Obviously, some nations are more organized, especially in that military sense, while some are a bit more casual. Now there is the Raphanshiv, the most hated and despised nation out there. The reason why they are considered an extra is because their nation, entire society is based on nothing. They steal among themselves, and one of the things that nomads stand by is protect your family, work for your family, and never steal from your family. Well, Raphanshiv breaks all of those rules. They also attack everyone they see. I mean, let's look at Dog Killer. Dog Killer is the leader of the Wraiths, at least he was in 2020. This man is rumored to wear clothing made of human skin on him. So of course the Raphanshiv are considered by most people to be subhuman, animals on the loose doing nothing for the society. But the problem is, these sociopaths are extremely well armed, and all of their vehicles are more combat oriented, while normal nomadic vehicles are oriented more for terrain and just long journeys, so travel. Now that I mentioned vehicles, for a nomad that is everything. Imagine Max without his pursuit special. It's impossible. So because nomads move on a daily basis, having a good vehicle is everything. So generally you will see in the game that nomad vehicles are much different to the ones in the city, due to a difference in terrain and also because they have more armor. Badlands are not without its dangers. That's also why most nomads are very good mechanics, since at a young age they fix vehicles, optimize them for the road, and generally, if you want a good vehicle, talk to a nomad. So how do they get money? Well, nomads have a bunch of different businesses, including transportation, smuggling of goods, protection, general work, and much more. Keep in mind, not every single nomad is an edge runner living on both sides of the law. Some nomads will arrive somewhere and offer help. Generally, they are very good for construction and field work, while obviously some members do jobs that give in huge amounts of money. But they are not savages. As I said, most of these nations are just people working for the better tomorrow. So even if they do certain jobs which are illegal, it's not like they're actually massacring people or something, it's just basically transportation and distribution, while some of course do resort to that. I mean, their distribution network across the states is really well organized and protected, so if you're from the city and need to transport something, you hire nomads. Also, after the Fourth Corporate War and during the time of the Red, you know who got it the best? Well, nomads. They live outside of the city, so most of the fighting that was happening there was avoided. And when Night City had to be rebuilt after the mini nuke went off, nomads actually helped them and pretty much secured a lot of the trading and transportation routes. Now in the game itself, we have two which are mentioned, as I said, Wraiths and Aldecaldos. Aldecaldos are actually the first nomad family, which actually later became a nation. Among themselves, they have different groups, and one of those groups will be outside of Night City. They are much larger actually than presented in the game, since this is only one place. Some say that nomads are the future. Cities now are just too corrupt and dangerous to stay in them, so in the dark future, moving from one place to another, looking for a better tomorrow is what a nomad is generally hoping for. And I'm really glad they captured the nomad life path well in the video game. It has certainly a different vibe than the corporate one and the street kid one, which looks nice, and overall, if you just look at nomads in general, they are definitely one of the most liberating people and factions in the entire universe. They don't live in the confines of the city, they are free to do whatever they want, and they have this sense of community and fellowship, which is extremely rare to find. And that's it for this first Nomad lore video. Next time I will go deeper into every Nomad nation. We will see their differences and overall rules and lifestyle. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, click that like and subscribe button for more. It also helps with the YouTube algorithm. And join our growing community on Twitter and Discord. I also have a Patreon page. If you were looking for an extra way to support the channel, you can do it through there. And huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters. This is LKM signing out, and stay classy everyone. Bye bye.